Alright, I think I'm in the mood to turn on the camera. Alright. Alright. Back to this. Alright. Alright, we're going to continue off with the Septuagint with Apocrypha Bible, which is this right here. Now, as you can see right here, I'm pretty much close to finishing this. Once I finish this up all the way, I will go to the other 3 Bibles just to finish up all 3. Once after all 3 Bibles be read on this live stream, on a live reactional, I think that after that point, then I'm not sure after that, but I've been pre-planned to read all 3 Bibles throughout the stream, and after that, I'm not sure, but all I know is we're pretty much the oh shit generation of near apocalypse. I just saying it as like a just in case scenario, but still, we might be amongst the last batch of God made that can be granted to heaven. In other words, we have to repent, accept Jesus Christ, and basically just follow the path of God, because we might be the oh shit generation. So, other than that big factor, that's a big factor. There's like miracles going on right now as I speak. Evidence of God has already been out there. I think it's time to continue off this stream. So, yeah. Alright, what's this next theme? I think I'm gonna go for this map. Alright, I think that's gonna be the theme right here. Or if you want to do that, or there's more this type of look. Right. Alright. Back to page Alright, we're at page 798. Proverbs XI dot 8-XII dot 6 dot. It's easier to pull the camera closer. Alright. Alright. Get the mic out of the way. A righteous man escapes from a snare, and the ungodly man is delivered up in his place. In the mouth of the ungodly man is a snare to citizens, but the understanding of righteous men is prosperous. In the prosperity of righteous men a city of prospers, but by the mouths of the ungodly men it is overthrown. A man void of understanding sneers at his fellow citizens, but a sensible man is quiet. A double-tongued man discloses the secret counsels of an assembly, but he that is faithful in spirit conceals matters. They that have no guidance fall like leaves, but in much counsel there is safety. A bad man does harm whenever he meets a just man, and he hates the sound of safety. A gracious wife brings glory to her husband, but a woman hating righteousness is a theme of dishonor. The slothful, I can't speak. The slothful come to want, but the diligent support themselves with wealth. A merciful man does good to his own soul, but the merciless destroys his own body. An ungodly man performs unrighteousness. Oh wait. Well, the same thing. But this is add word this there where it says, an ungodly man performs unrighteous works. That I meant to say. But the seed of the righteous is a reward of truth. A righteous son is born for life, but the persecution of the ungodly ends in death. Perverse ways are an abomination to the Lord, but all they that are blameless in their ways are acceptable to him. He that unjustly strikes hands shall not be unpunished, but he that sows righteousness shall receive a faithful reward. As an ornament in a swine's snout, so is beauty to an ill-minded woman. All the desire of the righteous is good, but the hope of the ungodly shall perish. There are some who scatter their own and make it more, and there are some also who gather yet have less. Every sincere soul is blessed, but a passionate man is not graceful. May he that hoards corn leave it to the nation, but blessing be on the head of him that gives it. He that devises good counsel seek good favor, but as for him that seeks after evil, evil shall overtake him. He that trusts in wealth shall fall, but he that helps righteous men shall rise. He that deals not graciously with his own house shall inherit the wind. Make sure I read this right. He that deals not graciously with his own house shall inherit the wind. Yeah, I read it right. It was. And the fool shall be servant to the wise man out of the fruit of righteousness. Grows a tree of life, but the souls of transgressors are cut off before their time. If the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and the sinner appear? He that loves instruction loves sense, but he that hates reproofs is a fool. He that has found favor with the Lord is made better, but a transgressor shall be passed over in silence. A man shall not prosper by wickedness, but the roots of the righteous shall not be taken up. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but as a worm in wood, so a bad woman destroys her husband. The thoughts of the righteous are true judgments, but ungodly men devises deceits. I had to reread this part. But ungodly men devise deceits. The words of ungodly men are crafty, but the mouth of the upright shall deliver. Them when the ungodly is overthrown, he vanishes away, but the house of the just remain. The mouth of an understanding man is praised by a man, but he that is dull of heart is had in derision. Better is a man in dishonor serving himself than one honoring himself and wanting bread. A righteous man has pity for the lives of his cattle, but the bowels of the ungodly are unmerciful. He that tills his own land shall be satisfied with bread, but they that pursue vanities are void of understanding. He that enjoys himself in banquets of wine shall leave dishonor in his own strongholds. The desires of the ungodly are evil, but the roots of the godly are firmly set. For the sin of his lips a sinner falls into snares, but a righteous man escapes from them. He whose looks are gentle shall be pitied, but he that contends in the gates will afflict souls. The soul of a man shall be filled with good from the fruits of his mouth, and the recompense of his lips shall be given to him. The ways of fools are right in their own eyes, but a wise man hearkens to counsels. A fool declares his wrath the same day, but a prudent man hides his own disgrace. A righteous man declares the open truth, but an unjust witness is deceitful. Some wound as they speak like swords, but the tongue I had to read this word. But the tongues of the wise heal. True lips establish testimony, but a hasty witness has an unjust tongue. There is deceit in the heart of him that imagines evil, but they that love peace shall rejoice. No injustice will please a just man, but the ungodly will be filled with mischief. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but he that deals faithfully is accepted with him. An understanding man is a throne of wisdom, but the heart of fools shall meet with curses. The hand of chosen men shall easily obtain rule, but the deceitful shall be for a prey. A terrible word troubles the heart of a righteous man, but a good message rejoices him. A just arbitrate A-R-B-I-T-R-A oh, I misspelled. A-R-B-I-T-R-A-T-O-R Arbitrator shall be his own friend, but mischief shall pursue sinners, and the way of ungodly men shall lead them astray. A deceitful man shall catch no game, but a blameless man is a precious possession. In the ways of righteousness is life, but the ways of those that remember injuries lead to death. A wise son is obedient to his father, but a disobedient son will be destroyed. A good man shall eat of the fruits of righteousness, but the lives of transgressors shall perish before their time. He that keeps his own mouth keeps his own life, but he that is hasty with his lips shall bring terror upon himself. Every slothful man desires, but the hands of the active are diligent. A righteous man hates an unjust word, but an ungodly man is ashamed and will have no confidence. There are some who, having nothing, enrich themselves, and there are some who bring themselves down in the midst of much wealth. A man's own wealth is the ransom of his life. Make sure. Alright. So let's say there. Of his life. But the poor endures not threatening. Endures not threatening. The righteous always have light, but the light of the ungodly is quenched. Crafty souls go astray in sins, but just men pity and are merciful. A bad man does evil with insolence, but they that are judges of themselves are wise. Wealth gotten hastily with iniquity is diminished, but he that gathers for himself with godliness shall be increased. Can't speak English for jack shit. Speech privileges right there. Anyways, the righteous is merciful and lends. Better is he that begins to help heartily than he that promises and leads another to hope. For a good desire is a tree of life. He that slights a matter shall be slighted of it, but he that fears the commandment has health of soul. To a crafty son there shall be nothing good, but a wise servant shall have prosperous doings, and his way shall be directed aright. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, but the man void of understanding shall die. By a snare, sound discretion gives favor, and to know the law is the part of a sound understanding. But the ways of scorners tend to destruction. Every prudent man acts with knowledge, but the fool displays his own mischief. A rash king shall fall into mischief, but a wise messenger shall deliver him. Instruction removes poverty and disgrace, but he that attends to reproofs shall be honored. The desires of the godly gladden the soul, but the works of the ungodly are far from knowledge. If thou walkest with wise men, thou shalt be wise, but he that walks with fools shall be known. Evil shall pursue sinners, but good shall overtake the righteous. A good man shall inherit children's children, and the wealth of ungodly men is laid up for the just. The righteous shall spend many years in wealth, but the unrighteous shall perish suddenly. He that snares the rod hates his son, but he that loves carefully chastens him. A just man eats and satisfies his soul, but the souls of the ungodly are in want. Wise women build houses, but a foolish one digs hers down with her hands. He that walks uprightly fears the Lord, but he that is perverse in his ways shall be dishonored. Out of the mouth of fools comes a rod of pride, but the lips of the wise preserve them. Where no oxen are, the cribs are clean, but where there is abundant produce, the strength of the ox is apparent. A faithful witness does not lie, but an unjust witness kindles falsehoods. Thou shalt seek wisdom with bad men, and shalt not find it, but discretion is easily available with the prudent. All things are adverse to a foolish man, but wise lips are the weapons of discretion. Make sure I read this right. All things are adverse to a foolish man, but wise lips are the weapons of discretion. The wisdom of the prudent will understand their ways. Alright, let's make sure I read it right. But the folly of fools leads astray. The houses of transgressors will need purification, but the houses of the just are acceptable. If a man's mind is intelligent, his soul is sorrowful, and when he rejoices, he has no fellowship with pride. I'll make sure that's right. And when he rejoices, he has no fellowship with pride. All right. The houses of ungodly men shall be utterly destroyed, but the tabernacles of them that walk uprightly shall stand. There is a way which seems to be right with men, but the ends of it reach to the depth of hell. Grief mingles not with mirth, and joy in the end comes to grief. A stout-hearted man shall be filled with his own ways, and a good man with his own thoughts. The simple believes every word, but the prudent man betakes himself to afterthought. A wise man fears and departs from evil, but the fool trusts in himself and joins himself with the transgressor. A passionate man acts inconsiderately, but a sensible man bears up under many things. Fools shall have mischief for their portion, but the prudent shall take fast hold of understanding. Evil men shall fall before the good, and the ungodly shall attend at the gates. Make sure I read this right. Evil men shall fall before the good, and the ungodly shall attend at the gates of the righteous. Friends will hate poor friends, but the friends of the rich are many. He that dishonors the needy sins, but he that has pity on the poor is most blessed. They that go astray devise evil, but the good devise mercy and truth. The framers of evil do not understand mercy and truth, but compassion and faithfulness are with the framers of good. With everyone who is careful there is abundance, but the pleasure-taking and indolent shall be in want. A prudent man is the crown of the wise, but the occupation of fools is evil. A faithful witness shall deliver a soul from evil, but a deceitful man kindles falsehoods. In the fear of the I had to read this right. In the fear of the Lord is strong confidence, and he leaves his children a support. The commandment of the Lord is a fountain of life, and it causes men to turn aside from the snare of death. In a populous nation is the glory of a king, but in the failure of people is the ruin of a prince. A man slow to wrath abounds in wisdom, but a man of impatient spirit is very foolish. A meek-spirited man is a healer of the heart, but a sensitive heart is a corruption of the bones. He that oppresses the needy provokes his maker, but he that honors him has pity upon the poor. The ungodly shall be driven away in his wickedness, but he who is secure in his own holiness is just. There is wisdom in the good heart of a man, But in the heart of fools it is not discerned. Righteousness exalts a nation, but sins diminish tribes. An understanding servant is acceptable to a king, and by his good behavior he removes disgrace. Anger slays even wise men, yet a submissive answer turns away wrath. But a grievous word stirs up anger. The tongue of the wise knows what is good, but the mouth of the foolish tells out evil things. The eyes of the Lord behold both the evil and the good in every place. The wholesome tongue is a tree of life, and he that keeps it shall be filled with understanding. A fool scorns his father's instruction, but he that keeps his commandments is more prudent in abounding righteousness. I'm guessing this is exactly what it says. Righteousness is great strength, but the ungodly shall utterly perish from the earth. In the houses of the righteous is much strength, but the fruits of the ungodly shall perish. The lips of the wise are bound by discretion, but the hearts of the foolish are not safe. The sacrifices of the ungodly are an abomination to the Lord, but the prayers of them that walk honestly are acceptable. And I messed up the word. Losing. Acceptable, I meant to say. With him. The ways of an ungodly man are an abomination to the Lord, but he loves those that follow after righteousness. The instruction of the simple is known by them that pass by, but they that hate reproofs die disgracefully. Hell and destruction are manifest to the Lord. How shall not also be the hearts of men? An uninstructed person will not love those that reprove him, neither will he associate with the wise. When the heart rejoices, the countenance is cheerful, but when it is in sorrow, the countenance is sad. An upright heart seeks discretion, but the mouth of the uninstructed will experience evils. The eyes of the wicked are always looking for evil things, but the good are always quiet. Better is a small portion with the fear of the Lord than great treasures without the fear of the Lord. Better is an entertainment of herbs with friendliness and kindness than a feast of calves with enmity. A passionate man stirs up strife, but he that is slow to anger appeases even a rising one. A man slow to anger will extinguish quarrels, but an ungodly man rather stirs them up. The ways of sluggards are strewn with thorns, but those of the diligent are made smooth. A wise son gladdens his father, but a foolish son sneers at his mother. The ways of a foolish man are void of sense, but a wise man proceeds on his way aright. They that honor not counsels put off deliberation, but counsel abides in the hearts of counselors. A bad man will by no means attend to counsels, neither will he say anything seasonable or good for the common weal. The thoughts of the wise are ways of life, that he may turn aside and escape from hell. Make sure I read this right. The thoughts of the wise are ways of life, that he may turn aside and escape from hell. The Lord pulls down the houses of scorners, but he established the order of the widow. An unrighteous thought is abomination to the Lord, but the sayings of the pure are held in honor. A receiver of tribes. Fuck, I messed up. It's not tribes, it's bribes. Couldn't see that one. Alright, my bad, I had to reread this part. A receiver of bribes, I meant to say. A receiver of bribes, I meant to say, destroys himself. I'd say this again, make sure I get this clearly. It's not tribes, it's bribes. Since I accidentally messed up, it's my fault. So, anyways, a receiver of bribes destroys himself, but he that hates the receiving of bribes is safe. Make sure it's well now. A receiver of bribes destroys himself, but he that hates the receiving of bribes is safe. By alms and by faithful dealings, sins are purged away, but by the fear of the Lord, everyone departs from evil. The hearts of the righteous meditate faithfulness, but the mouth of the ungodly answer evil things. The ways of righteous men are acceptable with the Lord. And make sure I read this right. The ways of righteous men are acceptable with the Lord, and through them even enemies become friends. God is far from the ungodly, but he hearkens to the prayers of the righteous. Better are small receipts with righteousness than abundant fruits with unrighteousness. Let the heart of a man think justly, that his steps may be rightly ordered of God. The eye that sees rightly rejoices. The heart and a good report fattens the bones. He that rejects instruction hates himself, but he that minds reproofs loves his soul. The fear of the Lord is instruction, and wisdom, and the highest honor will correspond therewith. All the works of the humble man are manifest with God, but the ungodly shall perish in an evil day. Everyone that is proud in heart is unclean before God, and he that unjustly strikes hands with hand shall not be held. Well, make sure it is right. He that unjustly strikes hands with hand shall not be held guiltless. The beginning of a good way is to do justly, and it is more acceptable with God than to offer sacrifices. He that seeks the Lord shall find knowledge with righteousness. And they that rightly seek him shall find peace. All the works of the Lord are done with righteousness, and the ungodly man is kept for the evil day. There is an oracle upon the lips of a king, and his mouth shall not err in judgment. The poise of the balance is righteousness with the Lord, and his works are righteous measures. An evildoer is an abomination to a king, for the throne of rule is established by righteousness. Righteous lips are acceptable to a king, and he loves right words. The anger of a king is a messenger of death, but a wise man will pacify him. The son of a king is in the light of life, and they that are in favor with him are as a cloud of latter rain. The brood of wisdom is more to be chosen than gold, and the brood of prudence more to be chosen than silver. The paths of life turn aside from evil, and the ways of righteousness are length of life. He that receives instruction shall be in prosperity, and he that regards reproofs shall be made wise. He that keeps his ways preserves his own soul, and he that loves his life will spare his mouth. Pride goes before destruction, and folly before a fall. Better is a meek-spirited man with lowliness than one who divides spoils with the proud. He who is skillful in business finds good, and he that trusts in God is most blessed. Men call the wise and understanding evil, but they that are pleasing in speech shall hear more. Understanding is a fountain of life to its possessors, but the instruction of fools is evil. The heart of the wise will discern the things which proceed from his own mouth, and on his lips he will wear knowledge. Good words are honeycombs, and the sweetness thereof is a healing of the soul. There are ways that seem to be right to a man, but the end of them looks to the depth of hell. A man who labors for himself and drives from him his own ruin, but the perverse bears destruction upon his own mouth. A foolish man digs up evil for himself and treasures fire on his own lips. A perverse man spreads mischief and will kindle a torch of deceit with mischiefs, and he separates friends. A transgressor tries to ensnare friends and leads them in ways that are not good, and the man that fixes his eyes devises. Make sure this right back. Page 803. Alright. Now 804. It was perverse things, and marks out with his lips all evils. He is a furnace of wickedness. Old age is a crown of honor, but it is found in the ways of righteousness. A man slow to anger is better than a strong man, and he that governs his temper better than he that takes a city. evils come upon the ungodly into their bosoms, but all righteous things come of the Lord. Better is a morsel with pleasure in peace. I want to make sure I read this right. Better is a morsel with pleasure in peace than a house full of many good things and unjust sacrifices with strife. A wise servant shall have rule over foolish masters, and shall divide portions among brethren, as silver and gold are tried in a furnace. So are choice hearts with the Lord. A bad man hearkens to the tongue of transgressors, but a righteous man attends not to false lips. He that laughs at the poor provokes him that made him, and he that rejoices at the destruction of another shall not be held guiltless. But he that has compassion shall find mercy. Children's children are the crown of old men, and their fathers are the glory of children. The faithful has the whole world full of wealth, but the faithless not even a... Okay, that's when I need glasses. So for a second, it says, when I read this part, when it says, even it says farthing, I think it says farting. Anyways, I had to read this part. It's supposed to say, I thought it says farting, but it's not. But the faithless, not even a farthing. Faithful lips will not suit a fool, nor lying lips a just man. Instruction is to them that use it a gracious reward, and whithersoever it may turn, it shall prosper. He that conceals injuries seek... I gotta make sure I read this right. He that conceals injuries seeks love, but he that hates to hide them separates friends and kindred. A threat breaks down the heart of a wise man, but a fool, though scourged, understands not. Every bad man stirs up strifes, but the Lord will send out against him an unmerciful messenger. But make sure that's right. But the Lord will send out against him an unmerciful messenger. Care may befall a man of understanding, but fools will meditate evils. Whoso rewards evil for good, evil shall not be removed from his house. Rightful rule gives power to words, but sedition and strife precede poverty. He that pronounces the unjust just, and the just unjust is unclean and abominable with God. Why has the fool wealth? For a senseless man will not be able to purchase wisdom. He that exalts his own house seeks ruin, and he that turns aside from instruction shall fall into mischiefs. Have thou a friend? For every time, and let brethren be useful in distress, for on this account are they born. A foolish man applauds and rejoices over himself, as he also that becomes surety would make himself responsible for his own friends. A lover of sin rejoices in strifes, and the hard-hearted man comes not in for good. A man of a changeful tongue will fall into mischiefs, and the heart of a fool is grief to its possessor. A father rejoices not over an uninstructed son. I'll make sure I read this right. A father rejoices not over an uninstructed son, but a wise son gladdens his mother. A glad heart promotes health, but the bones of a sorrowful man dry up. The ways of a man who unjustly receives gifts in his bosom do not prosper, and an ungodly man perverts the ways of righteousness. The countenance of a wise man is sensible, but the eyes of a fool go to the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a cause of anger to his father, and grief to her that bore him. It is not right to punish a righteous man, nor is it holy to plot against righteous princes. He that forbears to utter a hard word is discreet, and a patient man is wise. Wisdom shall be imputed to a fool who asks after wisdom, and he who holds his peace shall seem to be sensible. A man who wishes to separate from friends seeks excuses, but at all times he will be liable to reproach. A senseless man feels no need of wisdom, for he is rather led by folly. When an ungodly man comes into a depth of evils, he despises them, but dishonor and reproach come upon him. A word in the heart of a man is a deep water, and a river and fountain of life spring forth. It is not good to accept the person of the ungodly, nor is it holy to pervert justice in judgment. The lips of a fool bring him into troubles, and his old mouth calls for death. A fool's mouth is a ruin to him, and his lips are a snare to his soul. Fear casts down the slothful, and the souls of the effeminate shall hunger. A man who helps not himself by his labor is a brother of him that ruins himself. The name of the Lord is of great strength, and the righteous running to it are exalted. The wealth of a rich man is a strong city, and its glory casts a broad shadow. Before ruin, a man's heart is exalted, and before honor it is humble. Whoso answers a word before he hears a cause, it is folly and reproach to him. A wise servant calms a man's anger, but who can endure a faint-hearted man? The heart of the sensible man purchases discretion. And the ears of the wise seek understanding. A man's gift enlarges him, and seats him among princes. A righteous man accuses himself at the beginning of his speech, but when he has entered upon the attack, the adversary is reproved. A sound man quells strifes and determines between great powers. A brother helped by a brother is as a strong and high city, and is as strong as a well-founded palace. A man fills his belly with the fruits of his mouth, and he shall be satisfied with the fruits of his lips. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and they that rule it shall eat the fruits thereof. He that has found a good wife has found favors, and has received gladness from God. He that puts away a good wife puts away a good thing, and he that keeps an adulteress is foolish and ungodly. The folly of a man spoils his ways, and he blames God in his heart. Wealth acquires many friends, but the poor is deserted, even of the friend. He has a false witness shall not be unpunished. A false witness shall not be unpunished. Make sure I read this right. And he that accuses unjustly shall not escape. Many court the favor of kings, but every bad man becomes a reproach to another man. Every one who hates his poor brother shall also be far from friendship. Good understanding will draw near to them that know it, and a sensible man will find it. He that does much harm, make sure this is right. He that does much harm perfects mischief, and he that uses provoking words shall not escape. Let's see how many pages I go to the. Let's see. Go 1, 2, 3. Let's see it. Let's see in the next section, because there will be at a certain point there'll be no longer Proverbs. Oh, here it is. So I got like it's around 819. It's gonna be the 818 will be the end of this Proverbs on this Bible. So I got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages to go. Alright. And this is 7. My neck. Alright. Let's see if I can try and continue. He that procures wisdom loves himself, and he that keeps wisdom shall find good. A false witness shall not be unpunished. Make sure it's right. A false witness shall not be unpunished, and whosoever shall kindle mischief shall perish by it. Delight does not suit a fool, nor is it seemly if a servant should begin to rule with haughtiness. A merciful man is long-suffering, and his triumph overtakes transgressors. The threatening of a king is like the roaring of a lion, but as dew on the grass, so is his favor. A foolish son is a disgrace to his father. Vows paid out of the hire of a harlot are not pure. Fathers divide house and substance to their children, but a wife is suited to a man by the Lord. Cowardice possesses the... What the fuck is this word? effeminate. Effeminate man, and the soul of the sluggard shall hunger. He that keeps the commandment keeps his own soul, but he that despises his ways shall perish. He that has pity on the poor lends to the Lord. Make sure I read this right, since I'm feeling X I messed up. He that has pity on the poor lends to the Lord, and he will recompense to him according to his gift. Chasten thy son, for so he shall be hopeful, and be not exalted in thy soul. Make sure it is right. Chasten thy son, for so he shall be hopeful, and be not exalted in thy soul to haughtiness. A malicious man shall be severely punished, and if he commit injury, he shall also lose his life. Hear, son, the instruction of thy father, that thou mayest be wise at thy latter end. There are many thoughts in a man's heart, but the counsel of the Lord abides forever. Mercy is a fruit to a man, and a poor man is better than a rich liar. The fear of the Lord is life to a man, and he shall lodge without fear in places where knowledge is not seen. He that unjustly hides his hands in his bosom will not even bring them up to his mouth. When a pestilent character is scourged, a simple man is made wiser. And if thou reprove a wise man, he will understand discretion. He that dishonors his father and drives away his mother shall be disgraced, and shall be exposed to reproach. A son who ceases to attend to the instruction of a father will cherish evil designs. He that become surety for a foolish child will despise the ordinance, and the mouth of ungodly men shall drink down judgments. Scourges are preparing for the intemperate, and punishments likewise for fools. Wine is an intemperate thing, and strong drink full of violence, but every fool is entangled with them. The threat of a king differs not from the rage of a lion, and he that provokes him sins against his own soul. It is a glory to a man to turn aside from railing, but every fool is entangled with such matters. A sluggard, when reproached, is not ashamed. So also he who borrows corn in harvest. Counsel in a man's heart is deep water, but a prudent man will draw it out. A man is viable, and merciful man precious, but it is hard to find a faithful man. He that walks blameless in justice shall leave his children blessed. Whenever a righteous king sits on the throne, no evil thing can stand before his presence. Who will boast that he has a pure heart, or who will boldly say that he is pure from sins? The lamp of him that reveals father or mother shall be put out, and his eyeballs shall seek darkness. A portion hastily gotten at first shall not be blessed in the end. Say not, I will avenge myself on my enemy, but wait on the Lord, that he may help thee. A large and small way, and divers measures are even both of them unclean before the Lord, and so is he that makes them. A youth, when in company with a godly man, will be restrained in his devices, and then his way will be straight. The ear hears, and the eye sees. Even both of them are the Lord's work. Love not to speak ill, lest thou be cut off. Open thine eyes, and be filled with bread. A double way is an abomination to the Lord, and a deceitful balance is not good in his sight. A man's goings are directed of the Lord. How then can a mortal understand his ways? It is a snare to a man hastily to consecrate some of his own property, for in that case repentance comes after vowing. A wise king utterly crushes the ungodly, and will bring a weal upon them. The spirit of man is a light of the Lord, who searches the inmost parts of the belly. Mercy and truth are read this part, it's actually messed up. Mercy and truth are a guard to a king, and will surround his throne with righteousness. Wisdom is an ornament to young men, and gray hairs are the glory of old men. Bruises and contusions befall bad men, and plagues shall come into the inward parts of their belly. As a rush of water, so is the king's heart, and God's hand. He turns it whithersoever. Oh wait, make sure I read this right. Whithersoever he may desire to point out, every man seems to himself righteous, but the Lord directs the hearts. To do justly and to speak truth are more pleasing to God than the blood of sacrifices. A high-minded man is stout-hearted in his pride, and the lamp of the wicked is sin. He that gathers treasures with a lying tongue pursues vanity on to the snares of death. Destruction shall lodge with the ungodly, for they refuse to do justly to the F-R-O-W-A-R-D. Forward? I think it's called forward. God sends forward ways, for his works are pure and right. It is better to dwell in a corner on the housetop than in plastered rooms with unrighteous I make sure it's right. It is better to dwell in a corner on the house top than in plastered rooms with unrighteousness, and in an open house the soul of the ungodly shall not be pitied by any man. When an intemperate man is punished, the simple becomes wiser, and a wise man understanding will receive knowledge. A righteous man understands the hearts of the ungodly, and despises the ungodly for their wickedness. He that stops his ears from hearing the poor himself also shall cry, and there shall be none to hear him. A secret gift calms anger, but he that forbears to give stirs up strong wrath. It is the joy of the righteous to do judgment, but the I had to start over that part. It is the joy of the righteous to do judgment, but a holy man. Make sure it's right. Alright, let's start over again. It is the joy of the righteous to do judgment, but a holy man is abominable with evildoers. A man that wanders out of the way of righteousness shall rest in the congregation of giants. A poor man loves mirth, loving wine and oil in abundance, and a transgressor is the abomination of a righteous man. It is. I'm gonna put stuff right there and put stuff and hold on page 808 due to my neck just stiffen up. There's like a motherfucker. So it's going to be, we'll continue with page 808 of Proverbs. And it's supposed to be, it is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a quarrelsome and talkative and passionate woman. That's what it's supposed to have. One side of page to the other, it's supposed to end here, but I'm going to start off on better to dwell on when I get back on this on page 808 on the Septuagint with Apocrypha. So I'm going to put a pause here and come back to it maybe next Sunday. Main reason because my neck is starting to stiffen up and it hurting like a damn motherfucker. I'm trying to read this, so yeah. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you enjoyed what content I provide, at least for now, all that. Anywho, make sure you subscribe for more, turn on notifications, leave like videos, so forth, and yada yada yada, all that. Later. One hour, 39 minutes, and we're fucking out seconds.